Okay, Sheltons, here we go. We're going to do a little bit of stretching for the hamstrings and the quads, okay? So I'm going to step over here so you can see more of what I'm doing versus me. So I want you to start gently with bringing the leg up, okay? When you get yourself in position, Joe might need to put this foot flat on the floor, right, to support his lower back a little bit. So if that is the case, then put it down. If he can tolerate it being out, that's fine too. Either way is just fine. So what I want you to do is start by bending the leg in, all right? And then your job here is just to work on pushing it up and bringing it back down, nice and gentle. You're not trying to work in anything aggressive. Okay, you want to come up, tell Joe to tell you when there feels like a little stretch in the back of his leg, and then come back up. So you're straightening, just pushing that heel up, hold for a few beats, let it stretch, and then release. If you get to a point where he feels like he's relaxed and you feel like he's not fighting you, then you can hold the stretch a little bit longer and maybe push it back a little bit further. Christy, how does that feel? Christy's not answering. Right, so you would work on this, and I would spend probably 90 seconds to 3 minutes on each leg when you're doing this. Just take your time. That way it also doesn't exhaust you either as the stretcher. Okay, so we can get that going. You obviously do that to both legs, even though only one of his legs is where he's feeling the discomfort. You can then also help him with a little knees to chest, because if he's having a hard time, oops, sorry. I just kneeled on her foot. You can help pick up his legs and then just gently bring them back towards his chest and stretch this out here. He might have a hard time picking them up, but you might be able to push back and stretch out his lower back form like this, and you can control that movement, right? Again, you want to make sure that everything's gentle and everything feels like he can relax into the movement. That one, you're probably going to need him to like take some time, breathe into it, hold it, and go really slow with that one, okay? So that's hamstrings, that's low back, and then let's also flip over and do the quads. This is Christy's favorite. Hey, Christy, slide to your right a little bit. Just so I know you're in the camera all the way. Let me make sure you're in the camera. Hang on here. Okay, so one of Joe's legs is going to be a little bit harder to navigate than the other. That's going to be the left. So just know that when you go into it. So you want to make sure it's nice and relaxed here. Make sure that we're relaxed up here as well too. And we're just going to stretch until he feels the stretch coming across the front of his thigh. He might even feel it in his knee when you get started, right? And then you might say, all right, let's squeeze that corresponding butt cheek. So if you're stretching his left leg, say flex your left butt cheek. Now, Christy's pretty far. You might not get this far on that leg. Just work in a range of motion that doesn't flare his back up, okay? And then take it easy. You might hold it for about 20 or 30 seconds, let it release, come back up, do it again, right? And just keep going. And I would do this one too, 3 or 4 times on each leg before, you maybe even flip over and go back to the hamstrings again. And then the only other one that I think that might create you some benefit might be trying to get him into a little bit of a figure 4 stretch or some kind of hip stretch. And this one could be a little bit challenging, right? Because Joe's rotation's kind of stuck. So if we can get him so that his leg is crossed up and over like so, you can then help guide it, right, by picking it up here gently, maybe even resting it on your foot and working on the rotation by trying to pull this knee out. And that might even just be enough for Joe right there to feel a stretch in his butt. All of this is to try and get to stretching out his hip flexors and stretching out his quads and his hamstrings to get it all to release for his lower back. Those probably are the only ones that I would think right now, because you can keep him on the ground or keep him low. I would suggest doing it on the ground so he has a firm surface that would hopefully offer a little bit of relief so we can try and get him upright. Okie dokie. Let me know how it goes.